You find yourself lost in Irvingland. Dr. Smith apparently has too much free time and he's been taking it out on the robot.
Are you sure you want to do this to me, Dr. Smith?
Don't delay, do as I say. Upper half, left face. Lower half, forward march.
Well, this is it.
1, 2, company halt. 1, 2, left, right, company halt.
What's the purpose of doing that to him? What's it supposed to accomplish? And what's holding up the top half?
By separating the upper and nether regions of the robot, I can now use the nether part as a mobile carryall without having to listen to the inane cackling of the upper part. It's really very simple. I shall demonstrate. Let us assume that the carryall is now loaded with an appetizing hot luncheon for me.
You know, with Dr. Smith, the operative word is always me.
10 paces forward to the rear, march. Come back!
You pushed the wrong button.
Come back to the rear!
But before you said to the rear, you said forward. Clearly, it listens to you better than you listen to yourself.
Now you've done it. You've launched the pod into space. You and your mothers of invention. Why can't you have invented something simple, like a padded cell?
What's going on here? No, don't tell me. Come on, we've got to get it back.
Thing is, Will has had it pounded into his head since birth that he has to be respectful to his elders. So he can't leave it at that.
I'm sorry I said that about the padded cell, but you asked for it.
Obligation fulfilled. A gravity pull of some kind from a nearby planet is dragging the pod down and is trying to do the same to the Jupiter too. The robot can feel it when his lower half lands with the pod, and it wasn't a smooth touchdown.
You'd better tell him, Dr. Smith.
Well, you see, in the course of teaching him to accelerate his response to orders, you accelerated the lower half of him into that pod, right? I'm afraid so.
For 2 cents, Smith, I'd accelerate you down there.
He wasn't teaching the robot to accelerate anything. He was turning him into his own little red wagon. They know nothing about the planet, so they would do well to take some readings before they go after the pod and its rather crucial occupant. But before they can do anything, some kind of noise comes over the radio.
It's coming from that planet.
Hey, I heard that song on my favorite oldies station about 3 days ago.
This is the Jupiter 2. Come in.
You are understood, Jupiter 2. The vehicle which landed here, was it dispatched from the Jupiter 2? If so, for what purpose? Answer, please.
It wasn't dispatched. The landing was unintentional. We'd like it returned.
It is at your disposal, if you will come and get it.
Well, do you have facilities to handle our landing?
Nice talking to you. The good news is, as usual, everybody in the universe speaks American English.
Well, if we care to risk it, we're invited down.
Well, I've got a fix on the location, if that's any help.
I'm sure it will be. Professor, you may as well set us down.
Well, even if I do decide to, it doesn't let you off the hook.
In fact, some talk too much. I don't know how old he's supposed to be, but one might think that by now he had learned when to keep his big yap shut.
Doesn't look very inviting.
Ever see Earth from 2,000 miles out?
Fair point, especially since it looks remarkably like Earth. The main reason Earth wouldn't look equally uninviting to you is because you know what's down there and you know your body is adapted to live in it. To someone who's never been there, it might have a whole different vibe. But there's nothing for it. Since they need both the pod and both halves of the robot, they'll land and try to collect said items. The pod is right there, but otherwise the area is deserted. The robot says the atmosphere is fine and there are life forms here, but he can't sort out exactly what they are.
Well, this is a pleasant surprise. A nice, clean city instead of a dismal planet. Are they friendly?
I think they're playing hard to reach.
Perhaps they're preparing a welcoming reception for us. I can hardly wait. Shall we go?
That's always his first thought, and in good Dr. Smith fashion, he hasn't been right once.
For the time being, I prefer to wait. I have a hunch they're afraid of us.
In that case, I shall set their fears at rest by explaining exactly what happened. The moment they see me, they'll realize that we come in peace.
Once they see me, they'll realize that we are too stupid and incompetent to be a danger to them. Everybody else says, knock yourself out, dude. We're staying right here.
Look, there's Dr. Smith.
It doesn't occur to him that since these critters aren't from Earth, they may have no idea what that's supposed to mean. For all they know, it's a weapon. I don't blame him for screaming. That's a lot of mud to shovel out of there, and you know they're going to make him do it. His delicate back may never recover. The creature wants to know more about him and his companions.
How many like you on that great vehicle?
There are 6, but they're not like me.
Not like you. They are different? How?
Well, you see, we have brunette, blonde, blue eyes, brown eyes, tall, short, handsome, not so handsome, strong, weak, an assorted potpourri of types.
That's what this thing wanted to hear. It says, tell the others we'll visit them soon. Smith reports snarling beasts with huge fangs that breathe fire and I forget what else, and they know he's off his nut as usual. Maureen and Judy will help him to his quarters so he can sleep it off.
We better get the pot ourselves.
I wonder if they ever got tired of running into creatures who could do all that to them on a whim. Irwin, you're in a rut with your aliens and their crazy powers. By now, we've learned conclusively that we Earthlings are the Neanderthals of the universe. We're still making cave drawings and hunting with stone spears, while the rest of the universe is surfing the internet. It's kind of insulting. I know in Season 3 we're doing the Monster of the Week thing, but just once, couldn't the monsters be 3 feet tall with nothing more threatening than rubber band guns?
You may be useful to us when you are united with the section I observed in their smaller vehicle.
It's nice to know that some things are universal across all known sentient life, like theft. Unlike every other being in the universe that isn't us, he can't just pop in and out. The door has to be open or it doesn't work. Everyone could sense him, but nobody could do anything. Smith relates his conversation and the questions about them all being different.
The sooner we leave here, the better.
And leave the robot?
Well, we don't have any choice. We're out of luck, John. They not only took the robot with them, they knocked out our guidance system and power.
He was right. They don't have a choice. They're staying. Yet another formulaic calamity of the type we've seen a dozen times before. By this time, it was clear that the writers were running out of ideas and recycling old ones. A lot of people were shocked when the show was canceled after this season, but after doing these reviews, I'm not. The show was done. There was nowhere left to take it that we hadn't already been. The only difference between this monster and any of the others we've encountered is his appearance. We haven't met a mud stalagmite before, but we've encountered their motivation multiple times. They're going to want to conquer Earth, because who doesn't? Their reasons for it are a little different from what we've encountered, but not different enough to call this a new idea. In due course, Will slips out to try and find the robot, also something we've seen multiple times before.
Why has the small Earth traveler come?
Will says, I came to get our robot back. You have no right to take him or disable our ship.
We have very good reason. Look there.
You people sleep in plastic wrap. So what?
You will agree the likeness to you is extremely accurate, yes?
Well, even if it is, that doesn't prove anything.
He says, you are all different and you're great explorers. We're all the same and we're stagnating. Our society is going nowhere because we're all alike.
To be like you would make us superior. We have been too long content with our uniformity. It has made us complacent. And to be complacent is but one step from decay and the end of our civilization.
Being all alike or all different has nothing to do with it. You're stagnant because you let yourselves get that way. If you recognize that you're complacent, start shaking yourselves out of it and do something new, like build a spaceship and explore for yourself. No, they have a better idea. Don't just be like the Earthlings, become the Earthlings. The robot appears.
Come on, we've got to get you back where you belong.
This is where I belong, small Earth traveler.
We've also learned multiple times that a 2-year-old with one of these can reprogram the robot.
Please, quit playing games.
I play no games. It is my function to assist the members of the advance guard on their daring but noble mission.
What mission?
To replace the Earth travelers. To appropriate their vehicle, the Jupiter 2. To set a course for the planet Earth and make that planet ours.
If your goal is to break out of stagnation and try to be different from each other, that is the dumbest possible way you could try. You don't grow by conquering and destroying another culture. You grow by interacting with it and learning from it. If conquest is what they think will save them, their civilization needs to expire. Are there any insects on this planet? Turn control over to them. Maybe they can build something better than what you came up with. John and Don will go try to talk to them. By the time they get there, those tubes are empty.
I believe you wanted to talk to us. We did talk. I guess I need a little time to get used to the fact that I seem to be talking to myself. And we've achieved our purpose. I guess. That is a popular expression with you, isn't it?
There's how you defeat them. Tell them the most popular sport on Earth is snorglating, and the most popular expression is, "You're an ugly pig." Just be sure every recording device on the ship is running so we can catch Alpha Control's response.
Let's get him!
Do not resist, it is futile.
What do you intend doing with us? And the rest of my family?
Until we return from the planet Earth with our first report, you will be kept here in a state of preservation as our prototypes.
He pushes a button and they're inside the tubes. You know, we just did a replacement story last episode with Antimatter John, and that one didn't require sentient mud.
Our first test. I think we succeeded rather well.
Sure did. I guess.
Watch that. We mustn't use it too often.
You're the boss.
Don't you ever forget that.
This is the third time we've replaced John with someone else, and they've all been overbearing oafs with no redeeming features. Why not have Dawn be that guy for a change? Or even Judy. Have the boss take her form and watch her order everybody around. Or how about Penny or Will? That could make for some great scenes. But we always seem to go the safe route. Some self-important bozo takes over his body or replaces him as a look-alike and starts pushing people around, and it takes no time at all for the others to catch on.
What are you doing, Dr. Smith?
Oh, William. Trying to find a place to hide until we reach Earth, but I can't seem to find any receptacle large enough for me. Oh, William, I'm so frightened. What shall I do? Where shall I go?
I think Will would like to tell you where to go, but he's not allowed to use words like that.
Well, maybe Dad's talked them out of their plan by now.
Oh, no. Oh, no. If he had, he and the Major would have been back by now. William, it grieves me to say this, but I'm afraid we must reconcile ourselves to the fact that they may never return. But we must protect ourselves. We must find a place to hide.
Why don't you try Don's idea? The exhaust stack.
He is, however, allowed to do that. And it's not the disgust that gets to Smith. It's Will leaving him all by his lonesome, poor baby.
William! Where are you going?
To look for them.
What's your father's orders?
Dr. Smith, you said he wasn't coming back, so the order is canceled.
Oh, William, please stay. I fear for your safety.
Yeah, that's it. Your safety.
Dr. Smith, they were kind of friendly to me last time. Well, in their own crazy way. I mean, they didn't hurt me.
Then perhaps we should go together. Whatever their plans are, they may be kind enough to let us fly to Earth with them.
You never think of anything but Earth, do you?
Oh, sadness, oh, sorrow, William. What else is there to think about?
Poor widow Zachary is afraid to be alone. He needs big, strong will to protect him.
Come on, Dr. Smith.
I'm looking for a sign.
What kind of sign?
Abandon all hope, ye that enter here. There usually is such a sign in a place like this.
Well, there's no sign, Dr. Smith, and you don't have to abandon hope. But if that's the way you want to be about it, you go back to the Jupiter and I'll go it alone.
William, no. In for a dime, in for a dollar, I always say.
At least one person out there thought I was exaggerating. Will is done with his nonsense, but he won't have a chance to express it.
All right, put some snap into it. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got a lot of numbering up to do. Order feed!
William, reassure me. Tell me that you are the real William.
I am. He's not.
The real William would never march, and the real John would never tell him to. Aside from that, they're perfect duplicates.
Smash! On your feet! All right there now. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Faster! 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
That bogus me is not me at all. He's thoroughly incompetent.
That's you all over, Dr. Smith.
Maybe a little too perfect in some instances. Will says we've got to get on the ship, and I know a way.
We must have their clothes.
There is one problem with this plan. The Smith duplicate has webbed fingers and the original doesn't. He'll have to try and keep his hands out of sight.
Oh dear, they've left me behind.
He is exactly like Smith, selfish beyond comprehension with a grossly exaggerated view of his own importance.
Just be your normal, awkward self, Dr. Smith.
Awkward indeed. It's my duplicate.
Hit him hard enough. Hit him again. Then grab him and throw him in your cabin.
But I don't know how.
Just do it. I'll cover for him.
To say nothing of clumsy. A bump on the head may have had a little bit to do with that.
Where's Dr. Smith?
You know how he's supposed to be. Lazy and awkward. I'm sure he'll be along in a minute.
The ship lifts off, recovers the pod, and sets a course for Earth. Apparently, they know where Earth is, even if the real Robinsons don't. But when it comes right down to it, it depends on what week it is, whether they know or not. There's been no consistency about that this whole season. And it doesn't matter because even if they do know the way, that's not where they want to go. Well, most of them. Stowaways don't get a vote.
You know, I still can't get used to the idea that we're different from each other.
That's only the surface impression. Underneath, we're as identical as we ever were.
Are we? I'm not so sure about that anymore. After all, I am the leader. Report your velocity, navigator.
I don't like your tone of voice. We're still uniform. You don't have to act superior to me.
Keep that up and the Dawn copy just might introduce you to another interesting Earth word, mutiny.
I'm the leader. I am Professor John Robinson. Report your velocity, Major West.
Dad and Dawn would never argue like that.
Will says we have to get the robot back on our side. So you keep those guys busy while I work on him. Keep your hands out of sight and just keep talking. Finally, something he's good at.
If you make any attempt to change me, I shall be forced to defend myself.
Well, that didn't work.
Such fascinating instruments. What is this one?
Inertial guidance system. If that means anything to you.
Indeed it does. It means that we are being guided to the planet Earth. Oh, joy, oh, bliss. I shall show you gentlemen around once we get there. I shall be your guide.
To a planet you've never seen?
Maybe telling him to just keep talking was a mistake. He says something about speaking figuratively, but if he had been on his toes, he would have said he's just playing his part. That's the kind of arrogant, self-important thing Smith would say, so there.
I'm not sure I like this. Smith, you seem very different from us. Maybe too different.
No, I'm just as different as you are.
And to make sure you don't change, get the guns from the rack, go below and clean them.
Yes, Major. Hurry up! Yes, Major.
John says by rank, I should have given that order. That sparks a huge argument between them about who's in charge and all that.
Is anything wrong?
No.
I thought I heard you say you were more different than Don was.
I am.
That's a lie.
Well, you're supposed to be the best of friends, and now you're fighting. But I guess even good friends have to argue once in a while. It is hard getting used to the fact that we're not alike anymore. But I'm sure you'll work it out.
That is giving Will an idea: divide and conquer. He's discussing it with Dr. Smith.
Dr. Smith, here's your lunch. You'd better eat it right away while it's hot, or it won't be very good.
Thank you, madam. It's delicious.
Will, would you like some?
No thanks, Mom. Not right now.
Well, so much for that plan. False John says we'll cast you adrift and our signal will take you back to our planet where you can join the rest of your family in the suspension tubes.
Danger! Danger! Man your stations! Vehicle in direct path of meteor storm!
And we'll take care of that after this calamity.
I never thought we'd make it, Robot.
The small Earth traveler performed commendably in bringing the Jupiters safely through the storm.
Can't you just forget that small Earth traveler stuff and just be yourself?
I am doing the best I can. The shaking up I just received has helped considerably.
The others throw Smith into the pod and tell the robot to stand guard.
Did that storm put our ship off course?
You're the navigator, and you should know. Unless he knows more than you do.
We know as much as each other.
But he's a commander. He should know more.
And let him tell us if our ship is on course.
We're being inertially guided. We're on course.
The robot says no, we aren't. He recommends a series of thrusts to put them back on course.
Follow the robot's orders.
Giving up your authority to a robot? Commander.
That'll be enough out of you.
Go back! Hold him.
Was that an accurate correction you gave them, Robot?
Who knows? The only thing I hope is that Earthward, it will not take them.
I think he's feeling better. He adjusts his position so Will can sneak into the pod.
Where's the boy?
Since he is not on this deck, it would be logical to assume that he went below.
You disobeyed orders and nearly sent us off course. So much for him.
I won't say it.
Alpha Control, come in. This is Will Robinson aboard the Earth ship Jupiter 2. If this ship approaches Earth, do not allow to land. It is hostile. I repeat.
William, have you taken leave of your senses, telling them not to let us land?
Dr. Smith, the robot tried to set them off course, but it didn't work. Now, just in case, I'm warning Alpha Control. Now, please stay away from the radio.
If he won't, just step on his foot. It'll disable him for at least 3 days.
I can't raise them. I don't know if they're getting my message or not.
Well, it seems that they got the message.
Yeah, but did the aliens? They're still trying to find the small Earth traveler. While they're off on another deck, said traveler has a plan.
Robot, you're needed. You've got to help me change our course. We're being attacked from Earth.
It is too late, Will Robinson. They are coming.
Dr. Smith, get on the radio. Try and get through to Alpha Control. Tell them that the aliens are landing the Jupiter and they're trying to take over the Earth.
Yes.
I'll try and get us off automatic control.
Yes. Play dead, you silly goose. You'll give away the game.
He should have the robot get on the radio and have Smith play dead.
This is the famous galactic traveler, Dr. Zachary Smith. Do you read me, Alpha Control?
I'm in a dreary little space pod which I shall presently release for a joyous landing on Earth. So hold your fire until I give the signal, and then you may blast the Jupiter to kingdom come.
Told you. If Will gets killed in the bargain, oh well, at least Smith saved himself.
Is there anything we can do?
You could try evasive action, but their missiles will follow you anyway.
There must be some way out of this.
Well, there's one way. Go back where we came from.
Did it? Do we go back?
No, we land as programmed.
After they throw Will into the pod with Smith, that is.
We'll never get through.
I say we will.
Now, Robot! Nice work!
late, Will Robinson. We have just landed on Earth.
So much for Earth defenses. When it was all over, Space Force went to Congress and demanded more money.
Earth? Did someone mention Earth? Oh, good heavens, my bag. Excuse me. Beg your pardon. Chicago!
All right, let's go!
Those two are down for the count and trapped, but what about the rest of them?
Stacker, wheat, hog, butcher to the world!
Better strap in, Dr. Smith. I'm taking the ship back where it came from.
William, it's the loop. I know the loop. I've been there many times. Oh, I do hope I look all right for the photographers. Stop it! Reverse the engines!
Guess who wasn't listening? Dr. Me. Will is going back to rescue his family. Smith was prepared to let Earth blow up his good friend William if it meant he got to go home. And he'll get away with all of it as usual, including splitting the robot in two and sending the pod to the planet, which is what started this whole mess in the first place. He never faces any real consequences beyond a butt chewing.
Please, my dear sirs, we meant you no harm. Please take us back to Earth.
That right there is what's called treason. And again, Will might shake his head in disgust, and that's all that'll ever happen to him for it.
It's too late.
The signal. We have failed.
Signal? What signal?
Their mission was to go to Earth and do stuff. They made it to Earth, but didn't manage to do anything. So never mind, they're going home.
What have you done with my family?
They are free. Look.
Dad! Mom!
And we're going anywhere but here.
We who are alike and uniform in all our ways still have much to learn about the ways of those who are different from each other. What we are, we must remain until a change comes within ourselves and not at the expense of others.
You know, if you had asked a few questions and let them explain that to you in the first place, we could have avoided an awful lot of fuss. And what was the point of that? Where'd he go? He lives here. Why does he need to disappear? The robot has some unfinished business with Dr. Smith.
I'm doing this only to indulge you.
It is the only way I can recover my self-respect.
Self-respect indeed. Beware, movie! Beware! Let me out, you hear?
Count your blessings, Doctor. He could saw you in half and turn you into a nightstand.
Let me out! Let me out!
You want to let him out?
No, I don't want to let him out.
What about you? I've got work to do.
When this show began, and all through most of the first season, it was adventurous. It went places we hadn't been before. But with the second season, we had a serious change of outlook. What made the show the first season was the action, the new frontiers, and the interaction of the family. The second season decided to try and compete with Batman for being silly. It also became the Dr. Smith show, and while most viewers didn't like it, they continued to watch in hopes that it would get better. So far, it's gotten a little better in the third season, but we've retreated into safe territory. We're not taking any chances with our stories. They're all pretty much the same. In fact, the producers even described the pattern as Monster of the Week. I can't help but contrast that to something like the Ender's Game story, where the aliens we encountered were a very simple people, technologically unadvanced and peaceful. What kind of story might we be able to build if the Robinsons encountered a race like the Pequeninos? We weren't bold enough to find out. As I said before, this is 2 alien replacement stories in a row, and every alien out there can teleport instantly just by thinking. Everybody travels by Irwin Allen explosion, and everybody speaks English with an American accent. As I said, we're in a rut. The aliens are pretty well interchangeable. There's nothing distinctive about the mud monsters. We could swap them out for any of the previous critters we've encountered and not know the difference. The one bright point in all this is some of the other cast, and especially Guy Williams, are getting to shine a bit and actually be real people as opposed to set dressing. We've had a number of episodes featuring John now, and we even had one that featured Penny. Judy is still a little more than eye candy, and Don is the stereotyped sidekick for John. Dr. Smith has to be in the big middle of things, causing trouble as always, but his part is diminishing a little. It'll be an uphill battle, but I think most of us can learn to live with that.
If you enjoyed this episode, click the like button and let us know. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell so you always know what is happening, because something is always happening here at Irving Zoo. We make sure of it. We control his computer. Until next time.
Don't just be like the Earlings. Earlings, that's a baby Earl. She's over there expecting food.